Hey everyone, welcome back to KnowledgeIndia once again. We are starting a new series of discussions here. In this, we will decode enterprise tech trends with logic, experience, and a little common sense. Today, we are diving into a really controversial question. Is enterprise cloud adoption slowing down? Will big companies start pulling back from the cloud? The answer, nope. Not in any meaningful way. Let's talk about it. Why? But first, let's acknowledge something. The cloud has its critiques, right? Like it is too expensive. You get surprise bills every month, which you don't understand, a big part of it. Data sovereignty is at risk. We lose control over our own infrastructure. And of course, what if the provider goes down? What's your backup plan then? These concerns are valid. They come from real experiences, right? But as we'll explore today, they don't tell the full story to you. Despite all the noise around cloud repatriation, cost overruns, or vendor lock in, enterprise cloud usage isn't going to decline. Why? Because fundamentally, most enterprises treat IT as a cost center, not as a profit driver, okay, as a cost center. The goal isn't to build massive teams or manage infrastructure, really. The ultimate goal is to maximize the business output with minimum operational overhead. That's the reason why SaaS you know, took off like a wildfire. It became so popular. With SaaS offerings, you don't have any servers to manage. You don't have to do any patching, no hardware upgrades. You just pay and use, right? You just choose a plan and then you use that. And when enterprises run their own data centers, they don't just buy hardware. They also become dependent on a few very talented, very busy people, right? Who know how to keep all of that running. In case you lose these folks, you lose uptime, productivity, security, and whatnot. Basically, your entire IT fabric is at risk. Now, imagine replacing this whole thing with managed services that come with certain SLAs. It also comes with documentation and vendor accountability. You don't need to hope that your senior system administrator or a team lead doesn't quit. Why? Because the vendor who is now coming and offering you, these services, their entire business depends on keeping your service up and running, isn't it? That's why cloud is becoming, so popular. That's what cloud gives you. It gives you scalability, standardization, and the ability to fire the vendor if needed. Let me walk you through a story. Say there's a company called AEX Textiles, right? They are a global manufacturing company with operations in US, Australia, and India. In 2016, their IT team had a small data center in each region. Hardware refreshes were every 4 years, costing them around 500,000 USD globally. They had 15 people across locations managing hardware, backup, and disaster recovery. They were always playing catch-up game, right? The team was great as such, but limited in size, right? Patching was delayed. DR drills were skipped. And anytime a key resource left the team, it took them 3 months to stabilize again. In 2019, this company decided to move their core workloads like ERP, finance systems, and internal dashboards to AWS. What changed? Their infra cost went up slightly to, let's say, roughly 600K per year to start with. But they saved nearly 300K in hiring and retention because the people cost came down. Support was available 24/7 now with AWS Premium support. DR became a few clicks thing, not a week-long test, right? Because you are able to do your DR tests a lot faster on cloud. And best of all, they went from quarterly feature releases to bi-weekly. So a lot of agility, increased agility came in. More releases, faster market feedback, which directly improved operations and supply chain. Don't just take this story. Let's zoom out. According to Synergy Research Group, enterprise cloud spend hit $68 billion in Q4 2023, up by 20%. It was up 20% year on year. AWS, Azure, and GCP together, they make up over 65% of global cloud spend. Why? Because cloud is now table stakes. In context of business, table stakes refers to the minimum requirements of or basic features basically, right? Needed to compete in a particular market or industry. So it basically represents the essential elements that customers expect and that a company must offer to be taken seriously. It's like must have, right? Everybody is doing that sort of thing. So now everybody is using cloud. Azure reports that 95% of Fortune 500 companies use their cloud services. AWS has millions of active customers with sectors like finance, healthcare, and manufacturing leading the charge. And the same way, GCP has some really good offerings like BigQuery and many other AI tools, which are now embedded into data-heavy organizations, making it almost impossible to move away without major reengineering. Once an enterprise standardizes on a platform, switching becomes easier, but only if the systems are modular, API-based, and well-architected. That's why cloud-first design has become the default now. Now, people say if you run your own servers, you have more control or full control. Yeah, sure, technically you do that. I mean, you do have control. But let's be honest. Do you really want to control each and every patch cycle or every hardware life cycle or every security compliance audit and things like that? Do you really want to control each and everything? Most employees, even in IT, would rather have someone else responsible and get an SLA from them. The truth is, the accountability shift is what makes cloud so sticky. You move from internal blame games to contractual performance. And let's not forget agility. Right? For example, if you have to spin up 10 new servers, few minutes. You want to run a new ML pipeline, again, done in some time, few hours maybe. Try doing that with your on-prem setup, assuming you even have the enough number of GPUs. Just see how many challenges you face. Now, to the elephant in the room. What about companies moving off the cloud? Yes, some organizations do that. But usually they are product-focused tech organizations. They have very high optimization needs, predictable workloads, and the most important thing, a deeply invested tech team. Think of examples like Basecamp, 37 Signals, or few others. But these are outliers. The average enterprise, there's no chance that they would just move away from cloud. Because in enterprises, people rotate, budgets shift, goals change, they evolve. They want modularity, they want SLAs, vendor options. They should be able to, move away one vendor and bring in another vendor. They want cost visibility, audit readiness, all those sort of things. Right? So people come and go. That's the biggest thing. And cloud, love it or hate it, it checks all these boxes. If we wrap it up, will cloud evolve? Yes. Will costs fluctuate? Of course. Will hybrid grow? Definitely. But will enterprises stop using cloud at scale? Absolutely not. Because IT in large companies is not about building a tech empire. It's about delivering outcomes with predictability. And cloud, with all its managed services, global infra, and shared responsibility, is still the most practical way to do that. So the next time someone says cloud is dead, just smile, sip your SaaS powered coffee, and check your dashboard running on a fully managed cluster. See you next time.